What's up, guys? So again, just another live stream Q&A today. If you don't know who I am, I'm the founder and CEO of Arcade. We are a AI company that helps retail traders launch automated trading bots. Again, you don't have to know how to code. There's a bunch of cool shit. I have a bunch of other videos on my page, talking to you more about that. But again, today is really just a Q&A. I actually just got off a sales call with a new customer. So another new customer, which is awesome. And during that sales call, again, like I transcribe sales meetings. And what I did was I asked the AI to give us some answers or some questions that might be able to help you guys, in making a decision if you do have any questions, right? So literally, we're going through our conversation that I just had with our new customer, and the question that he asked me and his situation. I'll kind of tell you a little more about the new customer and kind of what he had to go through to come and eventually decide to use us. And hopefully it helps you out in making your decision on kind of how you want to move forward with your investing and trading, right? So a little bit about this guy is he lives in Kansas City. He, is a professional with a, pretty successful career. And he had 3 other bots that he had been using, trading bots, right? And he spent, one of them, actually, I'll kind of give you the exact amount here, 1 second. So he had purchased 3 trading bots, one of them for $15,000, one of them for $8,000, one of them for $6,000. The first 2 were absolutely horrible. The last one was better, but not great. And right now he's just looking for additional options. And so, again, what this shows me is a consistent theme around, pre-built bots and how well they work, right? These bots, he had absolutely no control over them, right? He found someone on Instagram, on YouTube, on social media, most likely. And he, basically was conned into buying something that was incredibly expensive and, really not worth its, weight in salt, right? And so, again, he went to, I think it was a NERP, right? And there was a few other companies that he worked with. And all they show you is, bright lights, everything going great, green, 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 green. But the thing they don't tell you is, risk around slippage, risk around like liquidity. There's so many different things that they don't tell you that over time, even though the bot might work at first, you see it actually, maybe in the first few weeks, you go and it works, but then afterwards, you see the losses kind of piling up, and eventually Barry is his name. He blows his account, right, through no fault of his own. Also, I want to welcome Padma, Cruise Ship Cole, hello, and iTrade21, welcome, guys. But yeah, so like eventually these systems, right, NERP or whatever, all these pre-built systems, they end up exploding, right? They end up losing you a ton of money through no fault of your own. And it kind of just sucks, right? And so the question that he said, right, was, my old bots lost a lot of money. How can I be sure this new way of trading will be safe and steady, right? So to answer that question is really it's data, right? Everything kind of boils down to data, right? See, these companies like NERP or these companies that sell you pre-built bots, they do not give you access to any data, right? They might give you access to a whole list of testimonials, but they hide their data really, really deeply, right? And what we like to do at Arcade is basically put the data up front, right? We want to lead with the data. We want to give you access to actually go and get your own data, make your own decisions, right? So if you go and look at the back test, right, for example, right, of a given strategy, you could see, right, and let's actually go over here. You could see the history of every single trade that a bot has ever taken. None of these things are pre-built for us, right? They are totally unique to the extent that you build them yourself and you have full control over the outcome. No one else knows your strategy. You don't need to tell anyone anything, right? It could all be proprietary and you own everything, right? You're not dependent on some random person, right, that doesn't give a shit about you, right? A lot of these companies, they sell you a $15,000 thing, a $25,000 thing. That's all fine and dandy, but in reality, they don't care. They're not licensed to care about you at all. And so again, the question that Barry asked is, a lot of his bots, pretty much every single one of his bots that he spent, a cumulative almost $30,000 on, they all lost the money, but he wants to be safe and steady. And my answer to that is, the only way to stay safe and steady is do your own due diligence really rigorously, right? A lot of retail traders do not have any process of due diligence at all. This is a massive issue. Even something simple as back testing, as paper trading, as weighing out what a max drawdown might look like over a given time frame. Retail traders do none of these things, and it's really only hurting them, right? Because they're taking big bets over things they know nothing about or know very little about, right? So again, how do I know that something's gonna be safe and steady? Do your due diligence. When you work with me one-on-one, or when you use some of our products, we give you a process, a roadmap, right? I'll show you it here. This roadmap is a basic due diligence outline, right? So it literally will show you a framework of exactly how to have success with your trading so that you reduce your risk, right? So it's, and really, again, in trading, right? Like Warren Buffett, right? He mentions rule number 1, don't lose money, right? Like the biggest thing that you could do to guarantee your success in trading or investing, or really anything, is limit the mistakes that you're making, right? And by the way, I meant to share this screen with you. So this is the roadmap that we give people right here, right? That literally is a due diligence process, right? And we call it, the bot launch roadmap, but in reality, it is just a due diligence guide, right? To give you an advantage in the marketplace. And again, when you work one-on-one with me, or when you use some of our products, you're going to go through that and you're going to learn that, in a really intimate way. And it's just going to really change your trading life, right? It's going to give you direction and maybe some of the stuff that, you wish you would have had earlier. And so, yeah, data, having a process, understanding how to read data, understanding how to know numbers. I mean, you'll have people who are trying selling you, the moon, but, it's hard for them to keep their promises. And what I can tell you right now is it's hard to avoid the hard work. It's hard to avoid, doing the due diligence, putting in the legwork, and getting the results you want, right? In order to get the results you want, I mean, you could look for all the shortcuts in the world, but in reality, they're far and few between, right? So anyways, that's the first question. The second question that he asked is, what is the difference between a bot that is already made and a program that lets me build my own special trading plan? So this it kind of coincides with what we were just talking about, right? When you have a pre-built bot, you're dealing with the risk of slippage. You're dealing with the risk of like liquidity crunches, right? I actually looked at a competitor, someone like, I had another sales call earlier today. And this guy, literally on his video, right? The guy who was selling you the bot, right? Was like, oh, well, you can only use a certain amount of money on this strategy until it breaks. And like in that same breath, he's selling to hundreds, if not thousands of people, right? If everyone is using the exact same strategy, eventually it'll break for everybody, right? I'll say it a different way. I like to speak an analogy, right? In case you don't know much about trading, if you're at a grocery store and everyone in your city is like trying to buy an apple, right? And everyone goes to the grocery store at the exact same time trying to buy an apple. Eventually the grocery store will run out of apples and there'll be a lot of people there left empty-handed, right? This is the same thing is true in the stock market or the Forex market or any market that you're a part of, right? The real estate market, there's buyers and sellers, there's supply and demand. It is so crucial that there's an appropriate amount of supply and demand. But again, with these people, when they sell pre-made bots, they don't think about that. They don't think about the natural sort of economics of the market, right? And so things kind of get out of whack and people end up, in really bad cases, getting left holding the bag. And this is how you see horror stories of people losing 90,000, 100,000, more money than that, right? With these liquidity crunches. It happened a lot in crypto, which is why a lot of people lost a ton of money during that time. Now, again, on the opposing side, right? So again, if you were to use Arcade and these frameworks that we give you, right? You will come out with something that is totally unique to you. No one else in the world will. I mean, there'll be other people who obviously know about it, but are they using it? Are they following it with absolute precision and clarity and just, accuracy? And again, a lot of our bots execute in under 100 milliseconds, right? they're just the odds of them competing against you, right? When you have an unfair advantage like this and like unfair data, right, is really minute, right? It's absolutely compared to when you're buying something from someone who's Instagram famous and he's selling you the exact same packaged product as everyone else. You're destined to be blown out of the water, right? Again, you want to compete in a market with no one else, right? You want to have unique ideas. You want to be unique in the marketplace, right? And have an unfair advantage. And that's really what we're attempting to give you here with Arcade, right? So again, huge difference between pre-made bots and bots that trade your own unique strategy. In one case, you're competing against thousands of people. And in the other case, you have, a data-driven, unique approach to the market that gives you an unfair advantage that over the long term, obviously with compounding, will just, change your financial life. So again, doing things the right way is so crucial to get that. The difference is really night and day. Either you lose money or you make money, right? And so that's why it's so crucial to have your own bot that will work over the long term. So anyways, next question he asked, do I need to know how to write computer code to make a trading bot? Or can I just use regular words to tell you when to buy and sell? So he was like really like nervous about like having to build his own bot and like know how to code. And the thing is with our software, literally like you just literally type in English right here, right? You type your strategy like exactly like, hey, buy when this happens, sell when this happens. Oh yeah, sorry, I meant to share my screen here. So you literally type right here, right? Buy when this happens, sell when this happens, right here in this little box, and it will literally automate it for you, right? It will do everything for you. You don't need to know how to code. You don't need to ever touch the code. You, as a human being, will never need to know how to code. Moving forward, AI will take care of all of this, right? And again, we specialize in helping people launch trading bots, writing code that involves automating your trading strategies, and getting the most out of that, right? And there's different companies that focus on different things. That's what we focus on, right? Harry Happy Hey 12. How are you doing it? Yeah, just like what I said with the software that I just mentioned right here, right? Literally, we type in, this is our software, it's called Arcade. And it's super exciting stuff, right? And again, with our roadmap, right? In tandem with our roadmap, we give you a process, right? A due diligence process to use this platform and basically make the most out of your trading, right? We give you the analytics, we give you the ability to automate, we give you the ability to, back test, right? So you don't have to risk your hard-earned cash, before it makes sense, right? So anyways, that's that piece, right? So you don't need to know how to code. You don't need to know how to, manage a database or manage a server or any of this stuff. We literally take care of all of that for you. You don't need to know anything about tech, right? You just literally need to have a desire to be successful in the market. And we give you pretty much everything else, right? In terms of the step-by-step guide, in terms of and I'll kind of share this with you right here, right? In terms of this step-by-step guide, we work with you one-on-one to kind of go through this, literally hold your hand all the way through. This is why Barry eventually signed up with us, right? We have this roadmap here that will give you a repeatable skill, right? A framework of thinking from going all the way from the beginning or for beginner to intermediate to advanced. And let me kind of break this down. So every trader in history has gone through this, whether they like it or not, right? And a $1 trillion extreme, welcome to the stream, man. If you want to tell me how this is a scam, I'm happy to kind of entertain that. It's kind of fun, but yeah, man, like every trader in the world, every investor has gone through these 3 phases, right? They learn the basics of trading, they learn a strategy, they test the hell out of that strategy and see if it achieves their goals. And then from there, they do their best to automate it, right? Now, again, Warren Buffett automation is different than Jim Simmons automation, right? Jim Simmons uses computers just like how we do at Arcade, while Warren Buffett has employees, right? Or he just kind of sets it and forgets it the manual way, right? But in general, you learn the basics of trading, you learn a strategy, you test out that strategy, and then after that, you try and set it up and forget it, right? That is the basics of life, right? When it comes to trading, okay? So that being said, that is the answer for like, do you need to know how to code? Absolutely not, right? We follow that framework and that kind of gives us exactly what we want, right? So I want the bot to do most of the work. How much time will I need to spend making a plan, testing it, and watching the bot after it starts. So once you set up your bot, you literally could just set it and forget it, right? So for example, like Barry asked me the question, he was worried that he was like going to have to, be trading, and monitoring it weekly, blah, blah, right? For example, the performance here, right? You could see my screen. Yep, right here, boom. This guy right here, I made $18,343, 111 trades. These are all my trades I've taken, right? I haven't touched this thing since I set it up in October of last year. And all of these trades were done automatically, right? So it's once you have a strategy that's actually good and it's actually making you money, you don't need to check it every single day, right? You could just kind of set it up, forget it, and kind of adjust where it needs to be adjusted. But in general, if you have a good strategy, you've back tested it, you paper traded it, excuse me, you don't need to spend all day worrying about it, right? And again, you have to expect some drawdowns, right? You have to expect some losses, but that's baked into your due diligence process, right? You kind of know what to expect beforehand so that when it does go down, you're psychologically prepared to endure those and kind of stick with the plan, in good times and bad times, right? So you do not need to monitor your bot every day, every week. I haven't monitored most of my bots. I mean, my bot that I actually use on real live money, I've had that going since like 2020. So it's literally been almost 6 years. And I haven't changed a goddamn thing, right? And that's made my family over like $1.7 cumulative dollars, $1.7 million cumulatively, right? So anyways, next question, he says, how does showing me all the real numbers help me stay away from bad trading plans sold online, right? So he's like, how is data helping me, right? Data, if you're in business, if you're in trading, if you're in life, data, right? The information, the facts will always help you find the truth. And when you are presented with the truth, you can then make decisions, right? Decisions that fit you best, that help you in your life, in your unique circumstances best. And so really, what you really want, like data is just a means to an end. What you really want is the truth, right? When you are presented with the truth, you could often, you don't need to be a genius to make a good decision that's going to help you in your life, right? So data and real factual data, the shit that matters, right? The shit that fucking matters. And excuse me for cursing so much, but like if I go over here and look at my trade history and look at my win rate, right? Win rate matters, right? Profit factor matters. If I go over here and look at my profit factor and my back test, it matters, right? And so again, being confronted with the truth, the things, the facts, the data that matter, it makes making decisions easy. And you could just stay away from the bad people who are online, the bad actors who are selling you bullshit, because they are not presenting you with the data. They're not presenting you with the truth. They're presenting you with this rose-colored view of things that make everyone look like a winner. And that's just simply not the case. Look at all the data, look at all the statistics. Like 4% of traders are successful over the long term. I mean, it's astonishing, right? And that's really who we're looking to work with, right? Is those 4% of traders who are successful over the long term. Plain and simple, right? You have to have some buy-in, some belief in your ability to actually do things differently, right? So use the data to find the truth. Once you have the truth, make decisions that help you. And that's how you stay away from bad people. Anyways, the next thing he says is, once I make a trading plan and test it, will the bot keep working the same way, or I have to change it every week? This kind of goes into what we were talking about earlier. Once you make a trading plan and it fits your goals, you could set it and forget it. Unless it's like a cataclysmic economic event, odds are you'll be perfect, right? So, and the next question he says, what is the main smart way to make trading choices that work for a long time? How does your program work for me? Again, it kind of just goes back to what we were talking about earlier in terms of the data, right? Like you need to back test. You need to have some due diligence process. For us, our due diligence process looks something like this, right? And again, when you work with me one-on-one, we will literally walk you through this step by step. And if you want to work with me one-on-one, there's a link down in the description. You just click on that thing and it'll take you over. Just sign up and we'll get a hold of you. But in general, you have to have a due diligence process that shows you the data, that confronts you with the truth. Once you have the truth in front of you, right, the data, the numbers, the facts, you will be able to make a decision that best fits you and your goals, right? So get clear about your goals, get clear about what it requires to hit your goals, and then get the data that's required to actually understand the truth and what it takes to get there. So that's really what it boils down to. And again, inside of Arcade, we provide you with all that stuff. And if you want my help one-on-one or just more help doing that, again, the link is below, right? The last question he asked is, besides the trading program, what special help do I get? For example, is there a class or plan to help me start trading well in 30 days? So again, we do offer, additional help. And this is actually something that I had an interview with a potential new employee. He was like, man, you are offering such great stuff. And, I don't think so for example, people use different services. Customer support is something that, with the advent of AI and the advent of overseas help, people lose sight of humans. We want to help you, right? We will be there for you, right? And I can't overemphasize how much it matters to me to let you know that at the end of the day, I'm a human, you're a human, and I want to help you achieve your goals, right? And everything that I've shown you today has been the amalgamation of 10 years in the making, right? From the stuff I know about trading, from the stuff I know about technology, from the stuff I know about product, the stuff that I'm doing right now with marketing, everything, it's all baked into it, and I'm giving it all to you. And it's a lot, man. 10 years of stuff, we've been recording now for 21 minutes. You're not going to get everything, right? In order to actually get that big, huge payoff, for me, again, it took 10 years, right? And it's still in the making, right? We're still building, we're still growing. But in order for me to transfer that to you, we need to have a sit down. And again, that's where the human element comes in. Barry, again, said so many negative things about NERP and all these other competitors because they just didn't give a care, right? They didn't care about their customer. They sold them something that really wasn't great for them with no intention of actually helping them, but just to make a quick buck. And what we want to do is actually provide you with a framework, a skill set. And this is kind of what it looks like, right? It may not be the prettiest thing ever, but it works, okay? This is something that has helped my family make a ton of money and has helped, traders around the world, thousands of them launch trading bots, thousands of them make money. And it's something that I'm really, really proud of. And again, if you're interested in working with me one-on-one, the link is down below. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comments. I'm here. I'll be recording more. Again, I mentioned this in my previous stream, but I've been in the hospital. I had blood infusions, and it was just a lot, for me. But I'm heavily medicated now. I'm on prednisone, so I have a bunch of energy and feeling really, really good. So I'll be back. Probably will post some shorts tomorrow. And again, listen, hey guys, if you know anyone who's interested in trading, interested in technology, wants to learn more about how to actually automate their trading, another thing you could do to help me, right? We are not venture backed. We are totally self-financed. This company was built by me for me originally. And I figured I want to help other people. So I started offering it to the marketplace. But one thing you could do for me, besides actually working with me, and letting me help you, is letting other people know that we offer this service. So if you want to share this video with people, or comment, or just share the word that we exist, that this solution is actually out there for people, that would be so huge. And really, really appreciate that help for what it's worth. Okay, so share it, repost it, retweet it, whatever it is, right? That would be absolutely, something that I would really appreciate. That being said, I'm about to hop off, guys. Again, any questions, comments, leave them below. And again, if you want to work with me one-on-one to actually elevate your trading, automate it, systematize it, whatever, right? Take it to the next level, regardless of where you're at. Feel free to click the link down below, sign up, and we'll be happy to help out, okay? Anyways, guys, peace, love, and tranquility.